guys, Suda Savage back, and today I am here with another episode of Suitor Stories. Today I'm going to be telling you about my experience during the Toronto Raptors NBA Championship postseason run. Now, as you can see, I got it all. I got Ran the East, which was the Eastern Conference Champions shirt. I also have the Champions hat. It's amazing. It's amazing to know that we're now champions. I mean, I've waited years to have a championship for one of my teams. Now, I know the New Orleans Saints, they did win Super Bowl 44 back in 2010, but during that time, I didn't care anything about football. The only sport I really cared about was the only sports I cared about were baseball and hockey. So I really didn't care about football or basketball. I mean, a few years later, I really did start to care about both sports. So now I can say that the Suitor curse is officially broken. Now, it's a lot like the Drake curse, a team I support, a team that we both support, who never wins. So the Suitor curse has been lifted by the Toronto Raptors, which is just amazing. Now, during my experience, I'm going to be telling you about the 3 games that I went to see this postseason. And oh my god, what a postseason. Now, let's get this started out with Game 2, Raptors versus Magic. Now, going into this game, we were down to the Magic 1-0 after a huge choke job in Game 1 against the Magic. Now, Raptors in Game 1 have never been generous. Usually, we'll choke that game. Usually, take a look at, against the Pacers, the Heat, every Cavaliers game. We'll always find a way to screw up Game 1, and of course, that game against the Magic was no exception, but going into Game 2, I knew this is a must-win. I don't want to go down 2-0 to a 7-seeded team, because, I know there's not a lot of parity in the NBA, but I never want to go down in a series 2-0 because it's really hard to come back from that. So this game was a surprise. I didn't even think I'd be going to it, but at the last second, yes, I did end up going. Now, going into the game, of course, when you walked into the gate, everyone got a t-shirt. So when I walked in, I got my t-shirt, except when I first got there, they had all the adult t-shirts. It's here, just go over there and and there was just a bunch of smaller t-shirts, youth t-shirts. Now, I may be 16, but I am still really small, so any kind of small clothing is good for me. So, and oh my god, the Raptors environment is just crazy. Now I've seen a few Raptors games before. I've been to Blue Jays playoff games. Those environments are absolutely crazy, but playoff Raptors are just insane. The people are amazing. Just look at Jurassic Park. Just if you watch anything about the fans, you'll know how crazy we are about the sport. Now, one of my favorite things about the postseason is "O Canada." You stand up and you sing it loud and proud. And of course, a few times when I saw it, they would actually sing the anthem. Then they would take away the mic, they would stop singing, and we'd have the entire crowd sing. And of course, my favorite part of the anthem was when we got to yell "Northin', the true North, strong and free." It's just amazing. So now in the last game, we had Kyle Lowry, who didn't make a single shot. So going into this, I was hoping he could finally break that, and he did with a free throw. Now he missed his first one, but of course he hits the second. Now, this game, unlike the first one, was just a massacre. We destroyed the Orlando Magic. Now during the game, I got 2 things. One of them was one of these. It's like a clapper. So what you do is, they gave this out to my entire row. So what you can either hold it up as a sign. They have the We the North side, and then they have the Raptors logo side, or you could fold it up like this, and you could just start smacking it. It makes a really loud noise. Now, the people that I was behind, one of the guys actually got this, and he actually started whipping it against the wall. So during that whole time, it was like someone was just lighting firecrackers. Literally, that's all I could hear. Literally, just my ears were in so much pain. Now, of course, it was partially the fans, but it was mainly just that guy whipping it against the wall. Once again, just like firecrackers. And, of course, we dominate that game as we pull out the bench in the 4th quarter, as we win it 111-82. Now, on the way out, they actually handed out a package of peanut butter and jelly. Now, if you don't know what goes on, they had this thing where whenever Fred VanVleet sets up a alley-oop to Pascal Siakam and he makes it, they call it PB&J. So as we walk out, we actually get it. It's Jif peanut butter and Smucker's jelly. So as I walk out, I bring it, and I'm thinking, I'm not going to open this until we win it all. So I never touched it afterwards. Eventually I picked it up for the NBA Finals, but after Game 2, I just never touched it. So now we go to Game 2 against the 76ers. Now, this one I wasn't even supposed to go to. It was supposed to be my mom and my dad to go. Now, unfortunately for my dad, he had a meeting that night, and so we had to miss the game. So of course, I got to fill in for him, and it was amazing just to go to another. Because I thought, it's a one-time thing, once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and it was well spent. But of course, I got to do it again, a second time. Now, I told a few people about this, what had happened before Game 2, and what had happened was, I actually got interviewed by Indie Radio. Now, they're Indie 88. Now, they're on the radio, you'll usually hear you'll hear them in the morning, so what happened was, as we're walking towards our gate, Indie 88 pops out, and they actually decide they want to interview me. So what they did is they asked, a couple questions, just about the Raptors. One of the things was Drake, what's your favorite Drake song? And of course, if you know me, it's headlines. They asked me, so if Kawhi were to hit a game-winning shot, what would your reaction be? So I said, I just get up and I just start screaming. I just start going crazy. They actually asked me to demonstrate it. And I'm going to do it. It was a little bit something like, ah! Something like that. I don't really remember what I said, but that's the closest to the thing I can think of. Now, another thing they said was that I have a friend who is a Raptors doubter. He says the Raptors can't win. So, what is your way to say the Raptors are going to win it this year? I said, LeBron is gone. LeBron is not even in the playoffs. We have a clear path. We have taken out strong teams. We have taken out the Warriors this season. If there's any year to do it, this is the year. Kawhi Leonard, we have a strong team, and this is the year that we do it. And it actually held up, and we ended up winning that. So, those words were true, as, of course, there was a game winner, and, of course, the Raptors winning the championship. But I'll get to all that later. So, of course, as I walk into the arena, we got another t-shirt. Now, instead, they weren't handing it out at the gate. They were just leaving it on the seats. And this time, it was a white t-shirt. Now, the first one was just a red t-shirt that just said We the North. The second was a white t-shirt that had 5 players on it. I don't really remember who they were. I think they had OG Anunoby, Kyle Lowry, Jeremy Lin, etc. So this game was not as good as Game 2. And because we had a horrible first half. Danny Green was missing every three-pointer. We were not making any shots. The game was literally all Kawhi Leonard, Pascal Siakam, and Kyle Lowry. Other than that, no one was contributing. A couple people had maybe 3 points, and that's it. Nothing. It was all. No one performed. The game was super stressful, and we ended up falling short, 94-89. Now, fortunately, we did not choke Game 1, so this time we're only going down. We're going to Philadelphia, this time tied 1-1. But then, the ultimate surprise happened. Now, of course, after Game 2, I'm like, you know what? I had a decent run, 1-1. So, Game 7 was also the same day as Mother's Day. And a couple days before Mother's Day, my dad pulled me into his room and he had to talk to me. He said, you're going to Game 7. I'm like, don't kid around with me. He's like, I'm not. Because during the same weekend as Mother's Day, it was also my mom and dad's anniversary. And whenever it comes to the gifts, my dad goes all out for my mom. So he ended up getting 2 tickets to see Game 7 of 76ers versus Raptors. And oh my god, I was so happy, but I was also so scared because I was so excited that I get to see another playoff game, but I was so scared because this is it. Either we move on and hopefully win the NBA Finals, or we're done here, and I have to go back to just depression because LeBron had killed us throughout this entire decade, and this time I didn't want the 76ers to do it. So, of course, I actually saw, now, before usually every Mother's Day, my mom and I, we usually go to see the Jays. Now, this time, the Jays, they got absolutely creamed. But at this point, we said, it doesn't matter because we didn't care that the Jays lost that game. The only game that really mattered was the Raptors. So going into that game, before it, there was Game 7 of Nuggets versus Portland Trailblazers. And, of course, the Portland Trailblazers pull off the upset and take out the Nuggets. Now, of course, this time, we got another t-shirt. This time it was white, but it had 5 players again. It had Danny Green, Kawhi Leonard, Kyle Lowry, Pascal Siakam, and Marc Gasol. This was the starting 5. This was the big t-shirt. Now, of course, it was kind of weird. Now, I didn't really follow the NBA, so I didn't fully before this. I'm not huge in the NBA, but of course, now I really love basketball. And I didn't really know, like, every team's uniform. So, of course, the Raptors walk out in their white. And, of course, the 76ers roll out in their alternate red jerseys with, like, a blue stripe and stars on the side. Now, the first thing that I thought when I saw that jersey was, it took me a while to figure it out, but eventually I thought, their jersey looks so much like the southern U.S. flag. Now, of course, I'm going to do a quick little history lesson. So, the Civil War was, of course, between the North and the South of the USA for slavery rights. And the Southern flag was just a red flag, and it had an X, and the X was blue and white stars. It was just a blue stripe and white stars. That's it. So that's like the first thing I thought. So, once again, it was a very stressful game. It came down to the wire. We're up 90-88. And Kawhi Leonard has the ball to hit this free throw. Now, I know if he hits this, we're probably off to Milwaukee. But he missed it, and he misses it, and Jimmy Butler takes it down the court and sinks a 2. There's 4.2 seconds on the clock. So, of course, at this point, I think it's time that I pull up my phone and record this, because this could be it. So, of course, they inbound it. Kawhi Leonard runs around. Of course, he takes the shot. And this was the shot heard around the world. And as he said the shot, I said, money! Like, he's going to make it. And it bounces once. I'm like, oh my god, overtime. But then I see it bounces again. And in that split second, I'm thinking, did we just do this? Did we just win off a rim bouncer? And it hits a third time. And I see it go in. Hits the rim the fourth time. And of course, we all know what happens. Kawhi Leonard hits the shot. And the Raptors beat the 76ers 92-90. And move on against the Bucks, and the entire stadium, the entire country was just going insane. I was going insane, my mom was going insane, all the people around me were going insane. Now what happened was, I was filming my reaction, and I was just so happy. The guy behind me saw me filming it. He starts doing this, starts screaming behind me, we scream together. Now what he did, I wasn't wearing a hat at this time because I had a Blue Jays hat, so I decided I would just go pure with just my hair. So the guy actually takes his hand and starts tussling my hair. Now, to be honest, it was kind of creepy, but at the moment, I just did not care because we ended up winning that. And as we were leaving the seats, I actually got threatened by a 76ers fan. You know, a lot of us, we kind of saw them, we started taunting them, and the guy looks at me thinking I'm taunting him. Now, I was being humble, I'm just saying, hell of a series, man. This was an amazing series, and he's like, you better keep your fucking mouth shut before I shut it for you. It was kind of weird, because I'd never really been threatened about sports before, unless it's my friends about the Leafs, because I'm a Habs fan, they're Leafs fans, they threaten me all the time. I mean, they threatened me after I started roasting the Leafs after being eliminated by the Bruins. Now, on the way home was just awesome with all the Raptors fans going, let's go Raptors. And, of course, now we're NBA champions, and as I said before, when it came to the NBA Finals, I had, like, every t-shirt on my couch whenever I watch the games. I pull out like every t-shirt and I just watch it eventually. So once the Raptors, after they won, I actually decided I would fulfill my promise. I said, if the Raptors win the NBA Finals, I will dip into the peanut butter and jelly that I was gifted from the Raptors from Game 2, which I eventually did, and that was some of the best peanut butter I'd ever had. Now, it'd been in like a couple of years since I had peanut butter, but it was just a taste of victory. It's so amazing to know that we're NBA champions. I get to brag about this all summer. Now, I had this one guy in my math class this year who was a Rockets fan who was just doubting me the whole year. He always wore like a Rocket sweater. He promised me once the Rockets are eliminated, he will take it off. So he did, and I started taunting him saying, oh yeah, who's in, who's out? He's like, they're not getting past the Bucks. We get past the Bucks. I'm like, we got past the Bucks. He's like, you're not getting past the Warriors. We got past the Warriors. He's like, I'm not mad. And eventually I started taunting him a little bit. He's like, I'm not mad. I'm like, I didn't taunt him because the Raptors... I mean, I kind of taunted him since the Raptors won the NBA Finals. Like, he said he wanted the Raptors over the Warriors, but I taunted him because the Raptors won and the Rockets lost. And that is my video for today. Thank you all for watching, and what an amazing postseason it was. If you like this video, take a second to like this video, subscribe to my channel, comment down below on what you want to see next upcoming on Suitor Stories, and make sure to follow me on Instagram and Snapchat at Suitor the Savage. Thank you all for watching, and have a great day for these NBA Finals champions. We the North.